Community service is a reference to the unselfish actions of a person or persons to improve the quality of life for others. The 2016 Northern Virginia Urban League Community Service honorees are models of that example. Their story began in the boroughs of New York City, where they grew up, fell in love, and ultimately became life partners. It was an environment that gave them the three essentials of community service: commitment, courage, and compassion.
My parents had 8 children, and I was number 7. And I was fortunate enough that I had 6 older brothers and sisters. And as I went off to college, and I was the first one to go off to college, my 6 older brothers and sisters would get money together, and they would send me a care package while I was at the University of Buffalo. And I would not have gotten through 4 years at the University of Buffalo if it wasn't for my 6 older brothers and sisters helping me by sending me money whenever it was needed. So, and that was part of that commitment and caring that I think our mom and dad really tried to bestow upon us.
I think commitment also showed up in our homes because our parents were working folks. It was really important that, especially to our fathers, both of them, that everyone was well taken care of. And I had just one older sister growing up, but it was important to Dad to make sure that we had everything we needed. Not everything we wanted, but everything we needed. And his commitment to that would be that he'd sit and make sure that we understood how it was to pay bills, what it meant to make sure that everything was paid on time. And so we learned that, very young, that it was really important to make sure that the foundations were established, and then whatever happened after that, that was gravy. We really got an opportunity to do some wonderful things because there was, a commitment to saving, a commitment to making sure that we gave to the church, and that the community was also a part of what we were involved in.
Those fundamentals of caring and sharing that they learned growing up is now part of the family legacy and is being expressed formally through their foundation, but more importantly, it's through their lives.
I've only known Mark and Brenda actually for just the last few years, but I almost feel like I've known them all my life because they make such an impact on you. I'm not at all surprised. In fact, it's totally logical that the Urban League would be recognizing them for their community service. They really embody what I think we're all wishing that our lives could look like. And yet, so often, at least speaking for myself, I don't often get the kind of characteristics to show through my behavior the way that Mark and Brenda do.
I've always said doing good is contagious, and when you're around people like Mark and Brenda more, you can't help but be inspired to do good. And certainly they emanate that type of spirit.
Part of their commitment shows up in compassion, going outside their comfort zones. We go to the Lamb Center, they're there serving at the Lamb Center, doing whatever is necessary for them to do. And no matter what economic status someone is or background, what someone's been through, they're there with compassion, caring, and commitment. And that's a blessing. And they really show Christ-like love in shoe leather. Again, some people just talk it, some people just fake it 1 hour on Sunday morning, but they show it Monday through Sunday. And that's a real blessing to the kingdom, but also to the community around them, that they encourage others to step up to the plate.
America is a place that is shaped by philanthropy. And I've been very fortunate to get to know a lot of people who really care. The people that really mean a lot to me are people like Mark and Brenda Moore. I first met them when I was giving a presentation back in 2010 to introduce people to the museum. They wanted to know, how does this museum matter? They were really the kind of people who wanted to make a difference, but they wanted to make sure that their philanthropy would make a difference. And within several months, they became a major donor to the National Museum of African American History and Culture. They wanted to make sure their children, their grandchildren, understood not only who they were, but how their history has shaped America. And that excited me about a group of people, two people who really realized that they had to look back in order to look forward.
I got to know Mark first before I got to know Brenda because of his comeback story from having a really serious illness, which probably would have laid a normal person low for the rest of their life. But you talk about courage and resilience and perseverance. He never gave up. And probably the key to his never giving up was Brenda never giving up.
Mark experienced 2 strokes, and prior to the actual strokes, he had been having headaches, which were undiagnosed by physicians. And I step on my soapbox for a second and remind folks that if you have a problem and you don't get answers, continue to ask the questions, continue to find the people who will work with you to try to find out what is wrong. We shouldn't give up, and we need to continue to seek help. So he did do that and just could not find the answer to it, and we don't know why.
I had to surrender and turn over to God and simply trust Him to lead us. And by and large, we sit here today completely recovered. And if you would ask me in 2007, where would I be in 2016, I couldn't have come close to this. So that's how much He's done for us.
There are a couple that God has blessed financially with wealth, but that has not consumed them. We read so many stories of people who have great wealth, and yet they are so far removed from other people. They haven't done. I think they've deliberately not done that. They've realized that God has given them what He's given them with a purpose, and they are like on a lifelong mission to fulfill that purpose, and that's compassion, reaching out to others. Again, they do it with very little fanfare. I probably celebrate them more than they celebrate themselves, but I think it's just a heart to help others, and heart of Christ, and they just exemplify that.
They're not doing it to be recognized. They're doing it because they feel they have an obligation, a responsibility, because of their faith and because of who they are, to do that.
So many young people in this area, but all over the country, are lacking exposure to people who have attained the success that Brenda and Mark have, and are willing to still be there and stand in the gap, who they can see themselves in. And that's what makes me so excited about their involvement with Posse DC, is I'm constantly searching for people, for successful people, for our scholars to see themselves in. And so the Moors make it easy.
One of our messages is that we can all give, and we should all give, and we should all be living examples, because we wouldn't be here without the Lord's guidance and His help. And we just really make sure that we are trying to be more like Christ. That is what we try to do every day.
We're just trying to give back. We're trying to help others along the way. And to your point, I think that's where the compassion comes. I realized that this complete recovery, this wasn't me. The fact of the matter, first and foremost, this is where our Lord wanted us to be, right? Second, there was a lot of family and friends that helped me get here today. All we're trying to do, we're trying to help others along the way.
Congratulations, Northern Virginia Urban League, for selecting Mark and Brenda Moore for this most prestigious award.
Brenda and Mark, congratulations. So well deserved. You're a model for so many of us. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for who you are.
That's a couple that I really believe that God will say, well done, thy good and faithful servant.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our 2016 Community Service Award recipients, Mark and Brenda Moore.